What's going on, traders? Yes, you made it to the Money Mitch special, the beer stock special. And I mean, it wouldn't be a beer stock special without a beer, right? I mean, this is gonna be the first one up. I'm gonna do a little local brewer here. This is the Stratosphere. You see the little what's that right there for my apes out there? That rocket, baby. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this party started. And welcome to Money Mitch.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now, we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
All right, traders. Welcome to the Beer Stock Smash. If you guys want to get this party started, what's going on out there? I see you guys backyard. Mikey, what's up? What's up, Born? How we doing? Dylan, Matt Miller, Bruin, Brent is even in the house. Let's get this going. Let's go ahead and bring on to the stream here Spencer Israel. If he's ready. Boom, boom, boom. The one, the only.
Spencer. I'm here. I just got my Budweiser. Just
hey,
classic.
Cheers,
American
cheers.
classic. American classic.
I went for a local. Did you see my little rocket?
I did. Very good.
That got me going on this one. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, you know what? We gotta rocket it on. Get the show pumping here.
What is the chat drinking? We got cheers from Germany. Benjamin, you better be drinking something good from Germany. We got Dylan from Florida. What are you guys drinking here?
Yeah, what's going on? What do you guys like? Bud Heavy. Looks like there's some Bud Heavy out there.
Yeah, this is a well-deserved beer after yesterday, Mitch. You and I.
Yeah, that was a hell of a stream yesterday, man. So a hell of a week too. So let's go ahead and let's celebrate. First things first, guys. What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about some beer stocks. We'll take a look at some of these. Some of these are some massive companies. You know, of course, you were getting some mentions in the chat here, but then we're going into a great interview. We got Will in the back. I can't wait to get into that. We're going to talk a lot about beers. Guess what? We got a beer expert, bro.
Well, it's a self-proclaimed beer expert.
To me, that's a beer expert. I mean, I can be a beer expert too, depending on how many beers I had, but we won't get into that. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into it. After that, I'm going to do a little IPA testing. I got some good ones waiting, guys. Just wait. This is going to be a good stream. I don't know if I'll make it to the end, but cheers to that.
Well, fortunately, there's nothing after us, Mitch, so you end when you end.
I end when I end, and the week's over. That sounds beautiful to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into first some of these stocks. I think the first one we should kind of talk about, is Constellation Brands.
Okay, let's talk about it. Constellation Brands owns Corona.
Yeah.
And that's all I can think of right now. Who else do they own?
I mean, majorly wise, that's going to be the one that you'll remember. I mean, there's some other lower named ones, but my biggest thing was Corona. It had such a struggle in the pandemic. The question is it out of the pandemic? And do people even care? You know, the Corona.
I mean, I thought sales were actually going up.
Yeah, sales actually went up for a little while at first, but then of course it kind of died down. I think one thing that they did do is attack you saw the ads. I don't know if there looks like there's someone in the back joining in. The one, the only. Let's bring him on here. Chris Ketchy. I saw you doing good in that beer trivia. I know you know beer trivia here.
Chris, I'm convinced you were cheating in beer trivia.
You know what I'm convinced of? Someone didn't know the right answers when they made the questions.
Well, which question? Whoa. You get to accuse me of being wrong.
Is that you, Spencer?
Some of them.
So the per capita question at the end, I believe the correct answer is actually Vermont, which is a tiny state, but a ton of breweries there. So I think Maine was given as the correct answer, but I'm pretty sure it's Vermont. I know it's not Michigan because I've done a lot with Michigan breweries. We have a ton here, but we are not one of the top 5. I do know that.
You know what? You and I can fight about this, but let's see what Will. I bet you Will knows this. Okay,
maybe he knows the answer.
I have a hunch he does. So let's just not. We could fight, but I'm going to choose not to fight, and we'll just Will. When we bring you on here, you can answer this. You can settle this for us because I'm pretty sure it's Maine, but we'll find out hopefully in a few minutes. No, back to the Corona thing. Mitch, I was going through Constellation's earnings report from June, or I guess for the prior quarter, but the one that came out in June, and the Corona sales were up. Year over year, right? Total sales up 3% year over year, and beer operations grows. That's beer operations is Corona, frankly, up 10% year over year. So yeah, people are buying Corona. I guess it makes sense. Makes sense to me.
For sure.
What did you think? Do you think Corona is bouncing back here, Chris?
The virus or the beer?
The beer, at least in this sense.
I don't know. I feel like Corona is bouncing back. The beer, the one that I've been watching is Sam Adams. That stock got hammered on earnings, and the big thing with them was they were so far ahead on the seltzer trend, right? They have Truly. There was only a couple big brands out there, Truly, White Claw, and some others. But then all of a sudden, everyone started hitting the seltzer space, right? And your big boys came to play, including Corona, Bud Light, all these other ones. So all of a sudden, Sam no longer has that strong market share in seltzers.
Hey, but one thing they do have is that iced tea to the face.
Yeah, but iced tea never really caught on. Like the shandies never caught on.
No, they didn't. They didn't. I'll tell you one thing though. I love a good Samuel Adams. I've been to the brewery. I have to say this is one of the breweries that has impressed me the most. In that when I walked in, when you walk into one of these macro breweries, you don't expect to get a micro brewery feel. I think Samuel Adams is able to accomplish this. And one of the things that they're able to do is give you really that brewery, that look, right? Everyone remembers the commercials. They see the guy with the beard. I actually saw that guy making beer. That's all I needed to do. After that, I was like, yep, they got me sold.
Yeah, and it's a good point from Chad Smith. I Googled it because I didn't remember, but Boston Beer paid $300 million to buy Dogfish Head. That seems like an awful lot for one brand, though I confess I don't know what Dogfish Head sales are. It just seems like a lot. It just seems like a lot.
Forward. Look what I got here.
It just seems like a lot for one
Dogfishy
for one brand to me. So, do you guys remember Brew, ticker BREW? That's off the board now. Because we got bought by Anheuser-Busch. That
was Craft Brew Alliance.
Right.
Yeah, Red Hook. They had the Hawaiian one. They also had like a gluten-free beer. I remember. I used to see that ticker.
Yeah, it's so funny. Brew. I think Brew was like the big outperformer. If I'm trying to remember correctly, I don't have the chart up because it's off the board now. But I think that was like the big winner for a long time. I used to always like compare Brew and Tap against each other. What was Tap doing?
How is Tap doing? Yeah.
That's okay. It's doing better than Sam.
I don't know, man. I think they're gonna end up losing their favor in the long run. Tap.
Let's get. Oh, it's staying corrected. It's not. Well, if you zoom, recently Tap is doing better, but zoom out. Further back you go, Sam is crushing.
For that, let's throw on the ABEV on there.
Sure. Oh yeah, forgot about ABEV. Let's do Bud while we're at it. We got Ambev. And we got Bud. Those are your 4. Oh, look at Sam. Anyway, let's zoom in this year. What is it? Who's the Ambev own again? I know they're like it's like a Budweiser. It's like a weird structure there, right? I think Ambev is also Budweiser. I'm sure Will knows.
Yeah, so you got Skull under there. What am I talking about? You got Budweiser, you got Corona, you got Stella.
Wait, we don't have Corona? No.
The original InBev. No, hold on. Now you got Beck, Hoegaarden, and Leffy's.
Okay.
It's the international brands there.
Okay. Yeah, it's InBev Belgium. Thank you, Kadir. Brent Slava says yeah, he agrees with me. Whatever I said, he agrees with.
Yeah, whatever Spencer says, I guess. Brent agrees.
He knows.
Should we just bring on Will? I feel like Will knows way more about this stuff than we do.
Let's bring him on.
I'm just here to drink my bud. Let's bring on Will Siss. He is a columnist. He is a podcaster, and he is at the Beer Snob or Beer Snob Rights. Will, how are we doing?
How you doing, guys?
We are doing well.
Welcome.
Can you settle this for us? I thought that Maine had the most breweries per capita. Chris is saying he thinks it's Vermont.
You can think that, but it is Vermont.
What?
Now, I know this only because I looked it up fairly recently in a couple of sources. Yeah, I mean, Vermont is super small, and there are a lot of people in the cities. Maine is a bit more spread out. It is a bigger state, but they're primarily in the Portland area, as far as I know.
Hold on a second. Okay, continue.
But in terms of drinking per capita, the state that drinks the most per capita apparently is New Hampshire. So again, New England, they got to do something, especially during those cold winter months. And beer is where it's at.
Here's an article from the Bangor Daily News. I've never heard of that place before, but I assume it's in Maine.
Of course.
Okay, wait, aren't you from Maine?
Well, of course they said they're number one.
Will, aren't you from Maine?
No. So one thing you should know is that my expertise is primarily in one of the smallest states in the Union, which is Connecticut. So that's where I'm at. But just to give you a big, the big picture.
Look what's on the screen right now. Look what's on the screen right now.
Yes, Maine now. Okay, so when was that published?
April 5th of this year.
Oh my goodness. Well,
we got it back.
Let's see. Let's check my source. What was the date for that?
You got the wrong source.
Congratulations, Maine wins. I am absolutely fine with being wrong. Congratulations, Maine. Do you have the Maine? Face. Do you have the Maine?
I don't know.
The state song of Maine should play at this point.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't even know what people did in Maine until I found out this. I was like, oh, so I guess they're just slamming back some brews
and reading Stephen King.
They read Stephen King and they eat lobster. Wait, Will, from your vantage point as a self-proclaimed beer snob, what are the trends happening right now in beer land?
Well, first of all, it's playing catch up over 2020. The idea is that people are slowly coming back to on-premise drinking, and they're finding they have fewer places to go to, which unfortunately is tough. But I think the big picture is that it's not as dire as people proclaimed it was going to be. That from my micro perspective, there were a lot fewer breweries in New England, for example, that closed that we thought would. Of course, the biggest brands continue to be the macro lagers, but the all other beers still make up around more than 50%. So that's really the area that I tend to cover, which is craft beer. These are not breweries that are on the stock market. These are not breweries that are making a ton. But from that other perspective, of course, seltzers played a big role, and I think that there was a thought that seltzers were going to be this flash in the pan of 2019 or 2020, and they continue apace. And so, you have to, that's not my drink of choice, but if you want something light, refreshing, and gives you a buzz, the seltzers remain in the picture. They are not the Zima come and go kind of thing. But, we take that, year by year. I think some other elements are that, people are certainly buying lower alcohol beers. Some non-alcohol beers are in the world of beer as well. And then on the flip side, people are buying less, and so they're prioritizing the ABV. So they're buying the big beers too.
That's interesting. So is there any? Well, you mentioned some here. So I'll have to get more of a recommendation from you. I got another question here. So what summer beer would you recommend right now? Is there a good summer one?
Yeah, I mean, when you think nationally, you want to have something that is light, refreshing, but it has a personality to it. And so I would go with Blue Point's Toasted Lager. I really like that one a lot. It's got the hop punch that you want. It's got a nice amber color, and it's actually a wonderful, flavorful beer out of Long Island, New York. So that's one that I would recommend as a great summer beer. Lagers in general, well-crafted lagers are very versatile, and they're perfect in the summer. I actually like saisons, which is a type of ale that is a bit more tart, but is wonderful when you're very parched, when you want, and they tend to be a little lower in ABV. So I happen to be drinking one. I'm down at the Jersey Shore currently. You caught me on my vacay, but I'm drinking a Ship Bottom Mary Lee. Don't Eat Me. Please don't eat me. Which is a 5% saison.
Okay, so Ship Bottom is on Long Beach Island, where I'm going in a month. Actually, a month from like today, I'll be there. So I will have to try that when I'm down there. Well,
highly recommend it.
Okay. You mentioned craft breweries. What do you make of like the big boys getting into craft brewery land, trying to encroach? Obviously, they see what's hot and they want a piece.
Yeah,
yes.
They've been eating them.
Yes, and there was a time when a son or a daughter would turn to their parent and say, I'm going to drink what they drink, which is Budweiser forever or something like that. Now it's like, my dad drank Sam Adams. Okay, well, that was like a foot in the door towards craft. So they're definitely seeing the writing on the wall. I think it's wonderful. I mean, I don't, I'm not a us versus them kind of person. I'm always equating beer to music. And when you find an independent band that you love and you hate to see that, others are aping their style or, they get signed to a big label and you go, come on, that was my band. That's the same with beer. It's more people are discovering it. Great. This is not a flash in the pan. Craft beer is, something that has a legacy now, and it's going in all kinds of great directions.
You mentioned the pandemic, and that's brought some challenges. We reached a point, I know, especially in Michigan, where we almost hit a saturation point with so many breweries being opened, over the last 2 or 3 years. Do you see now the impact of the pandemic and that fight for market share, where unfortunately we're going to see a huge regression, with breweries being closed?
Not a huge regression, but it's just got to be, I say inevitable. I'm not as well versed with financials as you all are, but I thought sure by now we would be seeing every week, another one closed, another one closed, another one closed. Not true. So they either invested, or they either capitalized well. They either were able to, dip into their savings or something. Maybe they're on borrowed time, but a lot of them have been able to survive. One of the biggest pivots that they had to make was that most of these small craft brewers are on premise only. And suddenly they said, oh man, we've got to start canning. And so they rented a canner, or they worked with a larger brewery in their state and they started canning their material there and getting it out to the people. And that isn't going away. I mean, despite an aluminum shortage, which unfortunately plagued the industry a bit. I can't say that that's still on, but a lot of them just did that. They said, all right, we got to get creative. Let's figure out ways for people to order their beer online, and we will get it to them curbside, or we'll drive it to their house. And I think states, if this had happened 10 years ago, I think it would have killed it. But states are so cool now about craft beer. Their laws are more flexible that breweries kicked down the door and made this possible to stay viable.
Perfect. I mentioned Michigan. Benzinga is a Michigan-based company. I'm here in Michigan, so I'm drinking a Founders All Day IPA today.
All day, I like that one.
Will, I know you know your beer, so I'm just curious, how familiar you are with the Michigan brewery scene and maybe some of your favorite beers or breweries here in Michigan.
Well, I certainly would recommend Bell's. Bell's out of Kalamazoo is one of the greatest breweries in in the country. Their Two Hearted Ale.
Two Hearted, yes, my fave.
Everybody, everybody knows about that one. And certainly Founders has a nice legacy as well in their past. Wish I could say, oh yeah, these are the Michigan breweries that I would go to. So I'll have to think about that one. But unfortunately, we don't. So many states now have become. There are just so many breweries in their own state that getting a beer from Michigan, unless you're Founders or unless you're Bell's, it's kind of like they're an import now. And so the refrigerator space for the state breweries in the state or the region are so big that they're squeezing all those other ones out. I agree. So I wish I knew more, but there certainly are a lot of great writers like that cover the Michigan beer scene that be able to answer it better. So sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, my last one will have to be, because I'm about to start doing the tasting test myself. What is your favorite IPA, Will?
That's a good question. I think that there are a variety of IPAs that I like because there are different styles. So there's one called a West Coast IPA, which kind of started out early. I would say, for that one, I'd go with, Sierra Nevada. They're the classics with that one. And then there's the New England IPA, which is sweeter. And for that one, I'm going to do a shout out to a Connecticut brewery called Back East. And so their Recautra IPA is really fantastic. So you want to get that if you're in the area, for sure. Counterweight Brewing in Connecticut is another one. They have one called a Headway IPA, which
I've had Headway.
To me, what I like about it, it's deliciously imbalanced. It doesn't need to have everything in it. It can be bold and bitter and fragrant and floral, and it goes with everything all year round.
Excellent. And do you think I know the IPA kind of trend went down a little bit since its height, but how do you feel about that trend? Do you feel IPAs are coming back, or do you feel it's kind of done what it did? It had its peak.
I think what we're seeing is drinkers are looking to see how far brewers can stretch in any one direction. So what we'll see is the highest alcohol beer, the most bitter beer,
ABEV,
and now,
IBUs.
Exactly. And now we're getting into the most sour beers, right? So that they're stretching it. So what's that doing? It's broadening the tent, so to speak, and that they're going to be IPA fans for life, and they're going to stay. And so I don't see IPAs going anywhere.
Hey, I agree with you, and I do think you're completely dead on about them pushing the ends.
Well, we've got a great question here in the chat. This was something I kind of wanted your opinion on as well. We're talking stocks here and some of the bigger breweries. So, obviously we've seen, Budweiser and the others, kind of create their own craft brands, but they're also acquiring companies. And then one of the other moves they're making is they're, purchasing smaller stakes in craft breweries so they can still stay, local and meet some of those requirements. What do you think of that? And is that trend here to stay?
If they're smart, they will continue to dig into that space. And if people are, I don't think most drinkers are not going to care if their Goose Island comes from, only Goose Island, who owns it, as long as the recipe stays the same and stays consistent. And it almost always does, because they have the means now just to hire the people, to get the right equipment, to get everything so that the beer stays, Now, if you're the kind of person that says, what, I hate macro, or I've got a thing against whatever their business practices are, they might have a social reason why they're against a brewery, then you're going to have some fall off there. But I don't think that's going to be something that's going to keep them up at night.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're just going to continue to see those acquisitions, and it sometimes makes us happy, sometimes makes us mad. But I agree. I think there's both sides of the table. But at the end of the day, it does give more access to that beer and give it more of a global brand than just even United States brand, right? And I think that's the hope in the future. I myself have lost a couple that I feel like, they picked them up. But at the same time, yeah, you go and you have them and you feel like you're having the same beer. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Mitch mentioned IPAs. I also talked a little bit about seltzers. Those have been some of the trends over the past year. Is there any particular style of beer that maybe you see all of a sudden surging, and becoming the next big thing that maybe we as, drinkers and investors should look for?
Ooh, I wish I knew. I think what it is if people are reaching out to seltzers, that means that they like lower calorie. And so, I would keep my eye on low and no ABV. Athletic Brewing, for example, is a brewery that started in Connecticut and is now expanded to California. They're a NA beer completely. And then they make they make really flavorful beer. So they're a great crossover. That's attracting older drinkers, which they have money, right? That attracts people who are on the wagon for whatever reason. It also attracts people who want to have a beer in between their beers to keep the party going and stay, able to drive. So I would keep my eye on that segment, that no and low.
Yeah, that's great. I know Athletic Brewing, they have an investment from Darren Ravel, a sports writer. He tweets about it quite a bit. And I think they have some athletes that have invested in it too. So I know they're gaining, big exposure, but that non-alcoholic segment does seem like it's growing. So that's a good call out there, with the seltzer trend.
No, definitely. I think it's something to look out for. I know sours are starting to catch on a little bit more. I think you could see that, especially since they're more of a refreshing thing. Maybe they lower, like you said, maybe a little bit even lower on the alcohol percentage, then keep all that flavor, because you can put a lot of flavor into sours. Who knows? Maybe that catches on also.
Good.
All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to move on to our tasting here. Will, you're welcome to stay for maybe a beer or two. But if
I'd love to. I got to get back to the beach. It's great to see you guys. I can't blame you.
You're going to go get some fun in the sun. Go finish that beer.
Go to my website.
Check them out.
Give all my stuff,
Yes.
So
I'm actually throw up your website right now in the chat for us, so that if you guys want to go check it out at this moment, you guys can do it. Yeah. Also, check him up in the description below. Yeah. You'll find him there. Will, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll get you
next
time.
Will.
All right, there, Chris. Time to open up some brews, bro. All right, you interested in what I got here?
What do you got? All
right. So first,
where did Spencer? Also, where did Spencer go?
Lost Spencer. Is just drinking beer in the back. I swear, I see him doing flip cup. He's playing beer pong.
He's playing beer pong. He's like, forget these guys.
Yeah,
I want to drink, not talk.
Yeah, Spencer. Spendy Wenzy. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into that. If he doesn't come back, I got a video. Trust me, he might want to come back. Let's just say I got a good video I'm going to bring up in a little bit if he doesn't come back. But first things first, I'm going to do a little IPA testing here, guys. First thing I wanted to talk about was IBUs and what IBU really stands for. If you guys don't know what IBU stands for, it's an international bitterness units. It pretty much stands for the bitterness of a beer. So a lot of times IPAs are going to be more on the bitter side. I don't know, Chris, I know you're drinking an IPA right now, but how bitter do you like your beers? Do you care about that? And do you ever pay attention to the IBUs?
Sometimes like if I'm at a brewery and they have them all written down, the ABVs and the IBUs, but otherwise I'm trying stuff based on, word of mouth or recommendation or something I see that might just catch my eye. So, I'm not paying as much attention to the bitterness. And Spencer's back.
I'm sorry. I had a phone call, man.
He had to come back. I told the chat, I had a video I was going to bring on.
What?
You didn't want that video public right now. It's a good thing you came back, bud.
Okay, whatever. I had a phone call. Sorry. Aaron Bree couldn't handle it, so I had to go handle it for him. You
know how we love our assets here at Benzinga. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the first beer of the tasting. So the first one I'm going to bring up is it's a real classic out of here at Colorado because it's one of the best known ones. It's Odell the Mountain Standard IPA here. This is a hazy, juicy, bright IPA here.
Mitch, question: Are these all IPAs?
Yeah, these are all IPAs except the very last one I made. One that is going to be an interesting one. We could talk a little bit about it. Okay. But yeah, this is a Mountain Standard IPA right here. It has that tropical flavor to it. So you're talking a lot of the hype right now in IPAs are hazy. And this is a hazy IPA right here. So you got pineapple, orange, mango flavor here. It's a triple dry hop. So when you dry hop IPAs, you're always you do a wet hop. That's like in the batch. And then you do a dry hop, which actually like runs it through like a filter. And that's when you're really starting to get some aromas. You got to be careful because, you can go a little bit overpowering at that point. But definitely one of the best Odell. If you guys don't know Odell Brewery, I mean, man, this is definitely one of the best. All right.
Did you say O'Doul's? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I had an O'Doul's once. I got it I was at a hockey game. I was at a Devils game, and I was like 13, and I went and I bought an O'Doul's, and I felt like the coolest kid in like the whole arena because I was.
It's one of the oldest. It's like in like the craft brewery. I mean, you're talking one of the oldest for sure. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the next one, which is one of my favorites. This is why I want to start talking about this brewery. This is Stone Brewery out of San Diego, California. This is a Tangerine Express. It's a hazy IPA. It has 6.7%, 75 IBUs. You're talking, this one's whole packed with tangerines and pineapple. I'm actually pour this one out because I think it's that good. So let's take a look here. Let's check out this pour here. It's all about the pour, yo. It's all about the pour. You got to test the pour. How's my pouring skills, man?
It looks fine to me, but I was never.
It looks like you could be a bartender there.
Oh, looks like I had the bartending skills in the past here. The one thing I like about this one is that it's very, very hazy. I mean, you cannot see through that at all, right? And so with that being said, you'll get a lot more of that aroma and that taste. So you got to have the pinkies up. Not great.
I don't know. It doesn't look like Brett was a fan.
How's that not great? Stone Brewery?
No, I think he's talking about
he meant the pour. I don't think he meant the beer. I think he meant the pour. The thing I'll mention about Stone Brewing, I don't know if you guys remember this. They actually were involved in a big lawsuit against Keystone, a brand owned by Molson Coors. Molson Coors took the Keystone brand and they tried to market it on the cans as Stone, right? And confused drinkers that it was actually Stone Brewing. So there was this huge lawsuit. I don't remember how it all played out, but Molson Coors the other day, they actually discontinued some of their Keystone brands. So they all that money and they just, yeah. So do you remember that?
I don't remember that lawsuit. No, but did we get to the brands that are being sunsetted?
I haven't talked about it, but yeah, yeah. Go
all
for
right,
it, Spence.
I need to know if anyone's had any of these. We got High Life Light. Never had that before.
High Life?
I've had High Life, but never Light.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. This is a new one for me. Milwaukee's Best Premium. Apparently, there's a premium version of Milwaukee's Best. Never had that before. Henry Weinhardt's Private Reserve. Never heard of that. Keystone Ice. Rest in peace, Keystone Ice.
Oh man,
this was just saying that everyone's
cross that off my shopping list now.
Everyone's favorite college beer, Keystone Ice, is done.
Anything with ice in it, I don't know. Natty Ice, Bud Ice.
Benjamin is asking one of the requirements to work at Benzinga, a lack of self-respect to start. Ham's Special Light, Key Lightful. These are all brands that are being ended by Molson Coors. Ice House.
I'll tell you what, Keystone's like just drinking metal.
Yeah, it is.
That's like drinking metal in a can, man.
Ice House Edge, Magnum, Mickey's Ice, Steel Reserve Triple Export, and then Old English HG 800. Definitely had that in high school.
What's your favorite cheap beer going around? What is it? What do you got?
Favorite cheap beer?
Yeah, the cheap.
Like how cheap are we talking?
We're talking college boy cheap, bro.
So my favorite is actually a beer that's unique to Maryland. Natty Bo, it's called, or Natty Bohemian, is like the official cheap beer of Maryland, the state of Maryland. And it is a cheap beer. If you're in Maryland, you know what I'm talking about. Natty Bo is my like default like stupid dumb cheap beer.
Yeah, I would just say all the lights. I mean, Bud Light, Busch Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, any of those. I was never a big PBR fan. I know that's a popular college one. Just was never my favorite. So I always at least drank the other lights.
Todd knows what I drink.
Rolling Rock. Rolling Rock is good, actually.
Rolling Rocks,
for
bro.
a watery beer, Rolling Rock is good.
Rolling Rocks. I used to roll with them rocks. Let's just say. All weekend long, let's just say.
But if you're going like one step up, though, like my go-to is always either a Corona or a Heineken. Those are like my go-tos.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with those.
You really can't go wrong.
Yeah, you get an ice cold Heineken, you get an ice cold Corona.
Yeah,
but you got to put a lime in it. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
There's the lime rule. I mean, if you don't put a lime in a Corona,
you got to do the flip.
If
right?
you don't know the flip, I mean, come on, man.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into the next brew here. So this was an interesting one. I want to talk about this one because, you know, Chris, you know how we like art and we've been seeing NFTs and art contributions. So this one actually is out of a very interesting place that you probably wouldn't expect. But first things first, let me get a scale to 1 to 10 from everyone in the chat of what you think about this can art right here.
Let's see.
Boom.
Whoa. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, right? I got to say, I really thought this one was pretty cool. This is a Sofa King Juicy Mango Hazy IPA. It has a big, luscious, tropical hazy IPA with an incredible aroma that will knock your socks off, brewed with Cascade hops, giving it flavors of citrus, grapefruit, floral, and spice. One of the things that's really cool is that they actually combined with an artist to do this. This is a watercolor art. Like this literally came from someone drawing a picture and then them grabbing it and collaborating. So I think this was really cool. And this is out of Idaho, out of all places, the Payette Brewing out of Idaho. So what do you guys think?
You know, I got to say the artwork's great. The name, as catchy as it sounds, I've actually heard the Sofa King used by many breweries. There's actually one that does a Sofa King Good beer. So I don't know who was first to that, but I definitely love that artwork.
Yeah, I love this can. This can I could watch for days.
It's kind of giving off like Eric Carle vibes. You guys remember like
Ooh, there you go.
Hungry Caterpillar?
Spencer.
I have read a couple Eric Carle books in my lifetime, Spencer. So
giving off like Eric Carle vibes is what I'm getting there from that can.
That was pretty cool, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if they can do some pretty cool cans, I think this does help to build up that local vibe and you support a local artist. So I thought that was pretty dope. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the next one here. Next one up is I mean, and I heard Aaron Thomas talk about this beer like it was bad, man. I don't know. Everyone in the chat went a little bit crazy. Let's go ahead and talk a little, or maybe Spencer knows what it is. What is it, Spencer?
I have no idea. I have no clue.
Take a guess.
Guess the beer you're holding? What? There's like 1,000 of those.
Dogfish. 60-minute IPA. The reason why is because Aaron Thomas was talking about.
Oh, okay.
He was talking about that he didn't like Dogfish. He said that it tastes like crap. This is the 60-minute IPA, and if you guys know, they also have the 120-minute IPA. Well, let's this little. I want to test a little Chris here. Chris, what's the difference between the 60 and the 120? Do you know? Yeah, I think you're on mute.
I'm mute.
The time. Oh, I don't know if I actually know the answer to this. I know
see if anybody in the chat.
I know some breweries do based on the amount of time that the beer is supposed to be good for. But that's usually more days than minutes. So I don't know if I know the answer on this.
I have no idea.
There's the 90 minutes.
But I'm also not. I'm not like an IPA guy. So
there's some people are taking some guess. I will give you guys a quote here. The Wall Street Journal actually called this the most balanced IPA on the market. By the Wall Street Journal, guys. I don't know how much the Wall Street Journal knows their beer.
Chad Smith says boil time. Is that right?
Oh, well, kind of. Yeah, I mean, you're right there. You're right there. Yeah, exactly. How long they're leaving the hops in the wet process. So, I mean, boil time would be correct. We'll give it to Chad. Chad, you know what? Hit me up.
Solar Up beat him there, actually.
Oh, Solar with the boil.
Chad won trivia. He already won a prize today.
Chad cheated.
Chad is on beer.
Chad even got he even got that main question right, whether it was right or not. So shout out to Chad for knowing the second place brewery per capita.
He's gonna lord that over me for the rest of my life. What was I about to say? I'm actually like not a big hops person. Is that okay to say?
That's perfect.
It's okay to say. Everyone has their own. Yeah, everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah,
so.
I don't love the hoppy.
That's one thing I used to hate about the whole beer industry and like beer writers was like criticizing people based on not liking certain types of beer, and I just feel like everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for making.
Hey, amen. I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever you want to swig down with, and if you like sours, if you like. Wheat beers are pretty good. I like some wheat beers.
I love myself. I love the darks and I love the wheats. Those are the two.
I mean, I can't go wrong with a Blue Moon.
Never.
Can't go wrong. I like a Blue Moon with an orange in it. Can't go wrong with that. Here's one that you I don't know if you've ever tried. Little something by Lagunitas.
I have. I've actually been to that brewery in Illinois. I toured the facility when I was there.
Little something. This one's interesting because the real interesting about this one is that it actually has some hops, but it's not an IPA. It's kind of, they call it a smooth, silky, nice, wheatish kind of strong hop finish. It's literally a mix of a whole bunch of things, but some people really like it, especially if you're a Heffenweisen fan.
I love
Heffens, you can't go wrong. The Germans know what they're doing there. But definitely a little something at the end. I had to bring a little something.
I've never had that before.
Check that one out, Spencer. I think it's a pretty interesting one. Some people that say they don't like IPAs end up liking this one, and it has a lot of hops.
Okay.
Which is something interesting, because you don't get too many wheat beers that have a lot of hops. And it's 64 on the IBUs. I don't know if you know your IBUs, but
no, I don't know. I confess.
And Brent's asking me about swag. I did get some swag when I was there. I don't know if I still have it or not. This was like 5 years ago when I toured the facility there in Illinois.
No, it definitely. I love their IPA, so I saw the little something, had to grab it. Can't go wrong with it. Now, one thing to notice is so when I was talking about IBUs, right? And so a regular IPA will have somewhere between, you're talking 30 all the way up to sometimes 75 IBUs. And in a regular Budweiser, what's your guess, Spencer, on how many IBUs it has?
Well, I have no frame of reference, so I don't know.
I just told you an IPA is around 30 to 75.
But I don't know what we're measuring. I know we're measuring IBU. I don't know what IBU is.
Oh, well, we talked about it earlier.
That was when Spencer got up. That was when he got up.
You were gone, bro.
Sorry.
So IBU stands for the International Bitterness Units.
Okay.
So pretty much the bitterness of the beer.
Okay. So like a Budweiser would be like a 5?
Oh, not too bad. Not
like
too bad.
Between
Chris,
5,
what do you think?
It's like between 5 and 10. I would say like 7 or 8.
Okay, I'm pretty close.
Damn, Chris got it. 7 right on the dot. But Spencer, you're not too off. Not too off.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, you're thinking about it: 5, 6, 7, and then you're talking about an IPA going up to 30, sometimes 75.
Too much. It's too much, man.
Yeah, man, definitely.
It's way too much.
It makes you think when you were a kid, and you first maybe snuck a little sip of the beer for the first time, and you were like, "Oh, whoa, what was that?"
Yeah.
You could imagine if you snuck some IPA, you'd probably go running. But definitely, guys, I have to say, what's your favorite brewery? Because mine would be Stone Brewery. I've given mine. What is your guys?
My favorite brewery. Oh, it's an interesting question. I have to think about it.
Yeah, I've been to hundreds here in Michigan. It's so hard to pick. I mean, Founders and Bell's are the two most well-known. Here in the state, it's nice to have a good frame of reference to tell people out of state. Those breweries. I've been to Founders many times before, like concerts downtown Grand Rapids. So I love the atmosphere there, the beers. So I would have to say Founders.
I'd probably say O'Doul's. No, Founders is like an easy one, but it is the first one that I thought of. I confess. I don't mean to piggyback off of Chris. Gosh, Founders or.
I have too many. Come on, Spencer.
I'm trying. I'm not thinking of it. Oh, you know what? All right, I'll go with Atwater. Only because Atwater has my favorite beer I think ever, which is Dirty Blonde. So I'll go with Atwater for that reason.
That's a good one. And yeah, Atwater, there's one in Detroit and there's also one here in Grand Rapids now, Spencer. So Atwater, they're all over here.
I'll have to give another shout out to, it's pretty close. In second place would be the Great Divide Brewery out of Denver, Colorado. They're known for the Yeti. And they have a really good, what do you call that beer? I don't like drinking these too much. The stouts. They have really good stouts.
I love stouts. Oh man.
If you like stouts, Spencer, come to Colorado and try a Yeti.
Okay.
They win prizes every year.
I love stouts.
So yeah, if you like stouts, they're definitely the place to go. I still like I like IPAs from there, and I also like pale ales a lot. I don't know if you guys like any pale ales. I like one out of Boulevard out of Kansas City. That's a good one to get some pale ales. But hey, there's so many beers, and one of the things that definitely has changed is just how like you can have a beer from across the country where, let's say 20 years ago, that was kind of unheard of. You just were drinking your Budweiser, your Coors. That's what I grew up seeing my dad drink, and just his Coors. Sure. But hey, that's the new generation.
I want to amend a previous statement. I said that my go-to light cheap beer was like Heineken or Corona. It's actually Yingling, but you can't get
the Ying.
You can't buy it in Michigan, right?
You can't get it in Michigan. It is so.
You can't buy Yingling in Michigan.
No, you can't. You can't.
What?
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where you can't get it here. You got to go south.
They don't sell in Michigan.
You have to cross the state border to get the Yingling.
Yeah, you got to go to like Ohio or something.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. As my go-to like cheap beer, can't get it. Yeah, I grew up watching my dad drank like Red Dog and like that stuff. Yeah. And you know what's funny also? I'm from New Jersey, where we so I wasn't like New Jersey doesn't, I don't think, has like a really big beer culture. So it wasn't until I moved like to Michigan where I was like, whoa, like, oh, brewery tours are a thing you can do here. Like, because it's not really a thing that I grew up doing, or like that I like knew about growing up. Because I don't know, I couldn't even tell you what the biggest beers are in New Jersey. I don't even know. If anyone in chat knows, let me know. But I have no idea. So yeah, the beer culture in this state kind of threw me for a loop because I had no idea it was such a big thing. Anyway.
All right, I'm not sure if Aaron Bry is ready in the back there.
No.
You should yell at him, Spencer. But
we'll
see if he's ready.
Oh, all right,
I need to see my young buck.
Okay,
young buck.
If you guys really want to do a chugging contest, I'll dip out for that because I have no interest in watching or being a part of that.
Well, there's not too many. It can't be a contest if there's only one person, bro.
Yeah, you might be by yourself, Mitch.
Aaron Bry's by himself. He can only do it by himself. There's no one else with him, so it's not a contest.
It's true.
It can't be a contest if you're not going against anybody.
CR says you can't get Yingling west of the Mississippi either. Now, today I learned. I didn't know that.
Yingling west of the Mississippi.
Wait, can you not get it out there, Mitch? Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I haven't tried to get Yingling.
That's a shame. That's a shame. It's really good cheap beer.
It's not bad. I guess it's the name. They don't know how to name that beer, man. When I was a kid, I couldn't even name it.
Wait,
what is that?
Isn't Yingling like one of the oldest beers in the country?
It is.
Yeah, and it's one of the top selling craft ones too, considered craft still. So
yeah.
Spencer, did you know there's a brewery called Upper Hand Brewery in the Upper Peninsula? And for the longest time, you could only buy that in the UP. They're partially owned by Bell's. It was started by Larry Bell, but then they started to where you could start buying some of their beers down in like Kalamazoo and stuff with that partnership. But they were trying to just sell in the UP, so be kind of exclusive there.
Yeah, I only know Left Hand. Left Hand's out of Colorado.
I've never been to the UP, Chris. So.
Wait, what? For real?
For real? I'm not from Michigan, man.
Oh, that's right. But how many years have you lived here?
Almost 6.
Yeah.
The UP?
I didn't get a Michigan driver's license till last year.
Well, you probably don't actually need a driver's license in the UP. It's pretty back roady and country.
True.
So,
that's true.
But you'll have to plan a trip. So it's good times up there. There's a lot to do.
All right. Well, that looks like it's going to do it for us here on the Beer Stock Special, guys. We talked a little bit about some beer stocks. We drank some beers, so cheers,
All gone. There we go. All gone. That's a wrap. I'm done. Mitch is done. Chris is done.
All done.
All done. We'll see you next time. See you next week.
Wait. What is that artwork you're referring to, Chris? Whatever.
Oh yeah. We don't have to do it.
Okay.
Artwork.
I don't know.
I need no artwork. I need another beer.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let's wrap it up.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
See you next time, guys.
Yeah.
How do you end this thing?
How do you end this thing, dude? Come on, bro. Like, what is this?
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity.